Right, hello folks, welcome to this help video on B1. This is the foundation tier paper and it's the past paper from 2013. So standard front page, this is what they look like, this is what yours will look like, and then a nice easy question to start with. So it shows an athlete at the start of a race and these questions are just to settle you in. So these are G grade questions which we should be scoring 3 marks from 3. So it's just draw one line from the change in the environment to the sense organ. Next bit, looking at which cells detect changes to the environment. And then question 1b, looking at concentration of sugar. Why does it decrease? Think about putting a keyword in there. There's an easy keyword you can throw in. 1c, looking at anabolic steroids, so circle the correct answer, and then 1c part 2, suggest a reason why they are banned. So come up with a sensible reason, that will get you a mark. Next one, 2a, we've got some adaptation here. So this is a gecko on a leafy branch, which is quite hard to see. So it's adapted to avoid being eaten by predators. Explain how. 2 marks, 2 bullet points. Make sure you try and make 2 good points or 1 point and then expand it. Here we're talking about ants now. So ants give a painful bite. The acacia trees have thorns on their branches. Predators are less likely to eat ants on acacia trees than ants living on the ground. Suggest why. So again, a sensible answer there will get you the mark. Next one, giraffes do not eat the leaves of acacia trees that have ants living on them. So this is why is it good for acacia trees to have ants on them. So again, suggest why. So you're coming up with a reason from the top of your head that's sensible for that. Another adaptation question, we've got a wasp and a hoverfly. They've both got similar markings, they've both got similar stripes. So it says the stripes on the hoverfly help the hoverfly to avoid being eaten by predators. Explain why. Again, 2 marks, so 2 bullet points. Try and think about why it might be an advantage for a hoverfly to have stripes so it looks like a wasp. And the wasp, of course, has a sting. Next one, quite a bit of information here to go through. So we've got 5 different antibiotics, so A, B, C, D and E on one type of bacteria. So we've got our plate there with the paper discs. So they grew the bacteria on agar jelly in a petri dish, soaked the separate paper discs in each of the antibiotics, put the paper disc onto the bacteria in the petri dish and put the petri dish into an incubator. And that's what it looked like after 3 days. So the lighter grey is where no bacteria are growing. So what's the maximum temperature it should be set to? So hopefully you should know that from normal lessons. And then circle the correct answer. So the incubator should not be set at a higher temperature because the higher temperature might help the growth of pathogens, toxins or viruses. Next one, which one from A to E will be best to treat that bacteria, and then give a reason. So put the right answer and then a reason. And then antibiotics cannot be used to treat diseases caused by viruses. Tick 1 box to explain why. So viruses are not pathogens. There are too many different types of virus. All viruses live inside cells. Next bit, again, we're looking at adaptation here. So we're looking at lichens. So lichens are very sensitive to air pollution caused by, so is it carbon dioxide, nitrogen or sulfur dioxide? So a relatively easy way into this question. We've then got a photograph with 2 different types of moths with different colours. And it says use one word from the box. So a change in genetic material is called a characteristic, clone or mutation. To use one of those words. Next part, 3 marker now. It doesn't say you'll be marked on the quality of your writing, so you can use bullet points. So 3 bullet points down there. It says the 19th century pollution made the bark of many trees go black, so they would have been light coloured and now they've gone black. So explain why the population of the pale form of the moth in forests decreased. So the ones that looked whiter, why did they decrease? And the ones that look darker, why did they increase? So try and throw in some keywords, explain why their numbers changed. We've now got a biomass question, and it does say label the pyramid. So think about how much stuff there is in each of these things. So we've got birch trees, they're just a type of tree, peppered moth larvae, and then birds. So think about your classic biomass pyramid, remember to label it. And then which two reasons explain the shape of the pyramid you drew in part C1? So 2 boxes here, so some material is lost in waste from the birds. The trees are much larger than peppered moth larvae. Peppered moth larvae do not eat all the leaves from the trees, and the trees do not use all of the sun's energy. Next question is about recycling. So we're given a pie chart and then we're asked a question. So it says calculate the mass of organic kitchen waste from households that could have been put onto compost heaps in 2010. So we've got a total of 23 million tonnes of waste. Now of that, the organic kitchen waste was 35%, so there should be a relatively straightforward calculation to work out what 35% of 23 million tonnes is. We then got another suggest question, so suggest is just coming up with something from the top of your head. So suggest one advantage of putting kitchen waste onto compost heaps and one advantage for the household. So the first one's for the council, the people that are collecting the rubbish, and the second one is for the person who actually has the house. So what could they use it for? Then got 2 breeds of cows. So we've got Frisian cows and Jersey cows for the ring round. So back to easier questions now, we're just ringing the answer. So cows produce their young by asexual reproduction, cloning or sexual reproduction. And then we've got cows and their calves have many similar characteristics. So the information for characteristics is carried by clones, embryos or genes. Then the information for characteristics is passed on to the next generation in cells called body cells, gametes or neurons. Next question, Frisian and Jersey cows can both be used for meat or to produce milk. There's some information. So it's quite a standard middle of the road biology question now, where we're given a load of information and we've got to pull out some of that information. So what I'd recommend you do is to underline or circle the things that you think are going to be important. Remember, we call that active reading. So it says give 2 advantages of a farmer keeping Frisian cows and not Jersey cows. So why is it better to have Frisian cows? And then 2 advantages of a farmer keeping Jersey cows and not Frisian cows. So look at the information and pull out the useful information. We've then got a question about genetic engineering. So tick the correct box for genetic engineering. It says some people are worried about using milk from genetically engineered cows to feed human babies. Suggest one reason why. So try and think of something sensible as a reason why people might not like it. Next one, Semmelweis question. Is a standard question on most B1 papers, so we need to have some good answers for it. So they normally give you some information, which they've done here in the form of a table, and then some more information in terms of writing. So we've got doctors and nurses working on ward A and B, and doctors only on ward A and not on ward B, and only nurses worked in ward B. So what we're after seeing here is some patterns. So are there any patterns that you can see? So in 1834, for example, they look about even in terms of the percentage of women who died, and then look at 1846, they're very different. So coming up for a reason for that. So it says look at the data for ward A and B after 1940, describe, so say what, describe the effect on death rate of having only nurses working in ward B and not doctors. To gain full marks you must refer to the table, so you need to put describe and then use some numbers to back it up. 2 marks available, 2 bullet points. Suggest an explanation for the difference. Now we're getting to some deeper thinking. So why did those numbers change? So think about your keywords from B1.3, which is the disease topic. And then Dr. Semmelweis told the doctors to wash their hands each time before they began to work on Ward A. Look at how the death rates have changed. There's a big change there. Dr. Semmelweis was right to tell the doctors to wash their hands. What evidence is there to support Dr. Semmelweis telling the doctors to wash their hands? Use information from Table 1 and Table 2. So 3 marks available here, but you've got to back up your statements with numbers from Table 1 and Table 2. It says, in modern hospitals, less than 0.1% of women die from disease after giving birth, so it's got much, much better. Medical understanding has improved since the 1850s to reduce the death rate, other than improvements in hygiene. So this isn't about having cleaner hands or cleaner equipment, so you need something new. If you put that down, you won't get any marks. Give 2 reasons for the low death rate from infectious diseases in modern hospitals. So 2 reasons, 2 bullet points please on there. Then got one about, this is again a classic question from a B1 paper, a slimming program. So we've got slimming program A, B and C. Let's have a look at the information for it. So the scientists recorded the body mass of 4 groups of volunteers each month for 6 months. 3 of the groups were each given a different slimming program. The 4th group was a control group. That's one that we're trying to keep as a baseline to see if it actually has any effect. The graph shows the mean change of body mass each month for all 4 groups. What should the control group eat? So have a think about what they should eat. Why did the scientists include a control group in this study? So why is it important to have a group that aren't involved in any of the slimming plans? Next one, the 3 groups of volunteers using the slimming plans each showed a similar pattern of body mass loss over the 6 months. Describe this pattern. Again, if we go back here, we need to pull some numbers out from that graph to back up what you're saying. So make sure you back up with numbers. And all the slimming programs seem to be effective. How does the information in the graph show this? So look at that graph. Why can we say from that they are all effective? Then finally, this is the foundation and higher tier crossover question. So we've got here, the diagram shows part of the carbon cycle. We have got above it in this question, you'll be assessed on using good English. So we need to write in paragraphs and include keywords. That's all we need to do, write in paragraphs and include keywords. So we've got carbon in the atmosphere, green plants, animals, microorganisms. Describe how living things are involved in the constant cycling of carbon. So think about your processes. Your key processes, of course, are photosynthesis, respiration, and decay, and then give some examples for each of those. So talk about each process and then give some examples. You've got plenty of space to write a nice long answer. Make sure you're filling the whole lot. Right, good luck. Make sure you come back with a really good paper.